ThetaTraders.com here. This weekly update video, we're going to look at technical analysis on the major indices, earnings coming, and some of the economic news. So first, SPY, we pretty much hit an all-time high at the Friday close. Went up to 626.28. Above all the EMAs on the daily, the RSI is now overbought and pretty heavily overbought. However, if you look at the futures, we did have a down candle here, down to 62.86, and this happened after market. So we are technically down 0.6. The market on Monday might have a down day just based on the very overbought conditions. So just be aware of that. In order for us to see a possible zone, we're going to look, there's not much volume in any of this area. I mean, the nearest volume is around 600, which is way before this big run-up that we've had. So because of the low volume and the volume profile, there is a chance that we could drop down. And based on the economic news, we might be able to have a pretty big drop. QQQ is looking very similar. We are a bit overbought. 557 is the high. Almost no volume below it. If you look at NQ futures, that's down about 0.7 as well. So based on this down candle, based on the futures market, we might see some downturns. For the small caps on IWM, we still have some room to go on this. The RSI is overbought, but the MACD is curling up, and there is some volume at, say, 237, 241. So it still might have some room to grow. We are finally above the purple 200 SMA, which is a bullish signal in general. But based on a lot of volume at the 217 to around 221, we could consolidate a little bit here, while the other indices may possibly fall. Let's look at the VIX. So volatility has been normalizing. Normal VIX is typically 17 to 19, and right now we're at 17.48. Based on the economic news I'm about to talk about, though, it might increase. So if you look at one of the big news stories will actually be the 90-day tariff pause nears an uncertain end. So Trump set the major partners to strike deals or face heavy tariffs, bringing close to a 90-day of volatility. And then he issued a threat just to reverse it. However, that is coming up on May 9th, which is end of this week. So we might see another delay. We might not. It's really hard to tell exactly what the president's going to be doing. But I do expect some more volatility coming up. If you look at the VIX at 17, we could easily hit a 20 or possibly higher level. So just be aware of the volatility plays. I would not necessarily sell a ton of premium right now with the volatility low and this possible news increasing it. I would wait until after July 9th in order to sell premium on it. And more of the economic news for the week. This is a little bit late. So if you look at July 6th to the 12th, Monday, nothing in the U.S. Tuesday, small business index that might influence IWM possibly. Wednesday, wholesale crude. Let's look at oil real quick. So oil has been moving quite drastically. It actually dropped quite a bit from the 78, and it's starting to consolidate. It's near 9 and 21 EMAs at the 66 level. So if you look at the crude oil inventories for Wednesday, that might actually change the market on oil at least. For Wednesday, just meeting minutes. We do have FOMC meeting minutes. It's not an actual FOMC speech, but it will show what the economic news is at the time. So record of most recent meeting, in-depth insights, economic, financial conditions. For that Wednesday, market might be relatively stable until the minutes come out, and then you might see some fairly dramatic moves for Wednesday the 9th. Unemployment claims on the 10th could change the market as well. This always comes out pre-market. So what you can do is look at /MES to see what's happening in the pre-market and then possibly make decisions on a 0 DTE trade afterwards. And Friday, not much. So let's look at earnings for this week. We don't have much here. After close, AEHR, it's a small cap stock. DAL might move a little bit more. Let's look at the airlines. So we got DAL, we had a high of 70 and a low of 34, and now we're at consolidating around 50. So based on that, we do have a slightly bullish setup above the EMA's RSI, the slope of it's increasing, and we do have a lot of volume at the 48. If you were going to consider an earnings play here, I would look for it to drop near that 48 or possibly move up to the mid 50s or so. Reverse iron condor could make some sense here. If you want to do a small account trade here, you could buy the 50 and sell the 49 put for Friday, and then buy a 51. Actually, yeah, buy 50 maybe or sell 51. And if you could take in at least 15 premium on this on a one width, you get 15% return on your money. You could also go wider width, possibly go to like a 51, 52 here, or 50 puts to the 49. You could possibly do a 51 call to a 52. It's not necessarily going to pay as much, and the market's closed right now, so it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen here. I would probably make it a little bit wider width, maybe a 51, 53 on the call side, 50, 48 on the put side. We also have Levi the jeans, doesn't have as much of a market cap, so won't necessarily move that much. All right, so that's the economic technical analysis and earnings trades for the week of July 7 to July 12th. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Appreciate all your support. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one.